Hey guys, this is a follow-up. When I first took delivery of this Spark 40 positive grid modeling amp, I did an unboxing video. It was about the first 20 minutes of my life with this amp and my first impressions. I thought I should follow up because there are a lot of things I've learned about this that I didn't understand then. And it's good to know if you're making a decision about whether or not you want to get one of these things. So really, basically, there are two aspects to this device. One is all the amp modeling and effects modeling capability that's built into it. And the second one is all the music creation, analysis, and streaming capability that's integrated into the software and streams through the device. So I'm going to talk about those things separately. First of all, with regard to the amp side. So really, if you're just sitting down and you want to use the thing, there are three ways you can get going. The first is there are 7 little amp selectors here, just like on things like those Roland Cube amps and stuff like that. There's a clean and a crunch and a high gain and a metal, and you can just quickly access those by turning this knob. And what it does, this is the app, so this is showing what the amp is actually doing. You can see as I turn this, it takes me through different amps. The effects don't change, nor do the settings. So if you want to play with things like compression or reverb or that kind of thing, you have to make an adjustment on the top of the panel or using the application. Whatever you do in terms of dialing through different settings using this knob, whatever you do doesn't get saved. So if you decide you like this amp model, but you like it with a little bit more gain, and so you change it, next time you come back, it goes back to the default. So this is, I would say, the least useful way to use the amp is using this knob to set through different things. It's not very powerful. It's not very flexible. It works. Some of the sounds are okay. It's obviously when you first get the amp, it's the first thing you're drawn to because it's familiar, but I never use it. The second way you can get at what you want to get is using their this functionality. And actually there are, again, 2 ways to get at that. I can actually switch amps. And if I scroll down here, there are, I think, 30 different amplifiers on here. Models of things like various Fenders, Marshalls. There's a Bogner Ecstasy. There's a couple of different orange amps. There's a very clean matchless. And those amp models are quite good and give you access to all kinds of different tones and textures and EQ structures and all that kind of stuff. So the amp modeling is great. The other thing there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different slots for effects. And it's always in the same sequence. There's a place for a noise gate, which you need with some of the higher gain settings you use. I'll talk about the noise gate and my experience there. There's just one noise gate, I believe. Yeah, there's just one. So you don't have a lot of options there. And it's either on or off. There's then after that, there's compressors. So there are several different compressors with varying degrees of transparency. There's some that are very, very transparent and some that really squish your sound a lot and are quite obvious and all that you'd expect from compressors. And again, it's pretty good. I'm not a huge compression user, so other people might have found other strengths and weaknesses of it there. Then there's the drive slot. So in the drive slot, there's a simple booster, and then there's a simulation of things like a Tube Screamer, a Boss OD1, a Big Muff, and various other effects like that. My furnace has just come on. That's that noise. I need to put a door here. This is my newly renovated basement. Anyway, moving on. Then there's the amp. Then you have modulation effects, and modulation effects include things like flanger, phaser, chorus, all that stuff tremolo, all that stuff you'd expect to see on a pedal board. Then there's a spot for delay. And again, there's a number of different delays, including multi-tap and reverse and all those things, digital, analog, modeling. And then there's a bunch of reverbs, which are fantastic, including room simulations as well as things like spring reverb and more complicated and rich stuff. So you can't stack these. So you only can have 6 effects and they can only be one of each of those types. But there's just so much to play with in terms of options there and the way they integrate with the amp that you can get lost in this. You can't get lost in it the way you can in some of the really super powerful modeling software that's out there. And that's part of the appeal of this, in my view, is that it does. it's practical and useful and easily accessible. It doesn't take much time to find the things you want. The other way you can get at sounds is there's a little cloud icon, and when I click that, up come a bunch of different models that other people have uploaded. You can see classic Marshall, Fender Bender, and they're all ordered in terms of how many likes they have. So once you've done a setting that you like, you can load it up into the cloud for other people to use. So this is a quick way to get at good usable sounds, and it's organized in different categories, you know, acoustic, pop, blues, metal, all these different options for other people's configured sounds. So you can pull those down, you can save them onto your device, you can change them and resave them, and you can also store them in one of these preset slots on the amp. So next time, you don't have to go through that whole procedure. What I've done is I've saved 4 of my favorite sounds, and that's what I do most of the time. So most of the time now when I use this thing, I don't mess with any of that stuff. I don't touch this knob. I select one of my 4 favorite settings, and I'll play with that. And if having just 4 options available to you in terms of how you play around with your amp when you're practicing at home is enough for you, then you probably do what I just do there. But if you feel the need to find out what other people think a good Stevie Ray Vaughan sound is, or Dire Straits, or Hendrix, or whatever, some of them are quite good. Obviously, there's a range of different users of this thing that have stored on here, and some of them are obviously kids. I mean, no insult, but some of these sounds are just not either reasonable reproductions of what they're supposed to be sounding like, or even all that useful because they're so just covered in gobs and gobs of, you know, flanging and crap all over the place, and they just sound like cartoonish. So that's how the amp part works, and I'm just going to give you a sense of the ranges. So this is my clean preset. I got tons of compression. You're not going to be able to pick it up, but there's a wonderful, rich 3D texture to especially the reverbs on here. And it's very full, good sounding amp. My second setting preset is, I forget what amp it's modeling. Let me just check. It is a Vox with a little bit of drive in front. And this is the one when I come down with a single coil guitar, this is the setting I use. Again, so I've got a little room reverb, and that's it. I've got no delay on this at all, I don't think. There's no delay. Sometimes I'll get in here and add a little slap back if I feel like it. But that's a good sort of medium gain kind of sound. The third slot is where I have more of a Robin Ford kind of thing. I know that's not Robin Ford. So, you know, it's pretty organic. It's pretty nice. This is an opportunity for me to demonstrate the problem with the noise gate. If one of the things you like to do, which I like to do, is choose a fairly high gain setting on the amp and then choke it back on the guitar, just like any noise gate, that's going to create problems. You're going to get weird. Sort of a coughing. Abrupt cutting off of the notes. So that's always going to be a limitation with the noise gate. This one is particularly awful that way. So just be aware. Again, it's not a huge deal, but it's an issue. The other thing I want to mention about using this as an amp modeler is it is possible to break it, the software. And if you try and cycle through too many different settings in a big hurry, it's going to freeze up and nothing becomes configurable, and you have to quit the app and power the amp, power back up again. I've had it happen maybe half a dozen times to me. It's not a huge deal. It's usually when I'm trying to scroll through a bunch of stuff and change a whole bunch of things in a quick hurry. It just kind of gets overwhelmed. There's a lot of processing going on with this thing, I imagine, with all the amp models. I didn't finish showing my fourth presets. The fourth one, I think this is supposed to be like a Marshally. That's a little bit less suitable for single coils, but when I'm using a humbucker or higher output, it sounds great. Okay, now let's talk about the music features on it. So the music features happen mostly in the application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video for a minute. I'm going to plug my phone in, and just so you can see what I'm seeing on the screen while I walk through how the music features work on this thing. Okay, so I'll be back in a sec. Guys, we're back. I'm going to show you how the music features work. So on the application here, I'm going to just switch over, hit the little note at the bottom, and this is where I get into all the music features. So across the top, there are what are called smart jams, which in my experience are of some limited usefulness. Basically, they're just samples of not very exciting pop, rock, funk, or blues tunes. So let's play the pop one. It'll play. There we go. It's got the chords there on the side. I can do things. Let's turn that down a bit so you can hear me. I can change the tempo. I can get rid of the bass if I want to and just have drums. I can also transpose, change the key. So that's the Smart Jam for what that's worth. There's also a feature on here where you can play 8 bars of anything. Oh, it's interesting. They've added a new user. There used to be just 2 drummers. Now there's 3. So let's just let's try something. What it's going to do is it's going to give me a 4-bar count in, and then I'm going to play something, and it'll listen, analyze, and play back something. Let's see what it does. What tempo do I want? Here we go. Okay, and now it's going to take that based on what I just played, and it's going to play a bass and drum part. And as you can hear, it got it completely wrong. So, yeah. Again, those things across the top are kind of fun to play with. I have never had it be that completely wrong before on the Create Smart Jam thing, for what it's worth. But let me show you some of the, I think, more useful features. First of all, there are backing tracks here that I can just play along with. Huge number of them. It includes chord changes for them in all kinds of genres: blues, metal, country, ballad, fusion, everything you want. Just if you like to just play along with backing tracks. You can also pull down a YouTube video or the audio stream from YouTube, and it will allow you to obviously play along with that, which can be useful. But here's something that's really cool. They have things called tab songs, and I think you can do this with actually any content. So this is Eagles Hotel California guitar lesson, and you can see it's showing the changes, and it's going to start playing it now. We all know that very well. But here's what else I can do, which is kind of neat. If I hit the little sliders in the top right corner, I can slow it down without affecting the pitch for learning that part. And let's suppose there's a part of it that I find particularly difficult. I can loop a section. So let's say section from here to here. How do I change it? Here we go. So I can change the loop section. I just want to loop those 2 bars. And now when I hit play, it's just going to play those 2 bars over and over again. And So I've got it down now. I can speed it up to 80% of normal pace and final pace. So that feature is kind of neat. And again, you can do that from any audio source you want. So let's pick another one. Let's pick, let's search for something. Let's say a Blackberry Smoke tune just for fun. Say good one coming on. I can play it. And again, I can slow it down. And I can take a section of it and loop it. So let's pause it, hit the loop function, and let's suppose there's just a tricky phrase right there I want to learn. And I can speed that up. So neat. The chord shapes that it gives aren't always terribly accurate, but just you can't argue with the value of that tool to allow you to work on stuff on your own using this amp as a tool. So overall conclusions. Just quit screen recording now. Overall conclusions. It's cool. It's very flexible. It's very versatile. It sounds amazing. It's cheap. It's very powerful. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn close in a lot of different areas. And as either a fun thing to play with or a tool, it does have a USB line out, so you can use it as an audio interface for recording if you want to write into your computer or digital workstation. Anyway, I'm just going to play a little bit on the way out. I'll just pick a nice backing track and I'm just going to play just because I feel like playing. Let's just pick this guy.